So here we go. Time for the weekly podcast. This one's for the Tuesday ride, and we're going to be doing the Vine rollers today, as the construction on Prospect is going to be going for a while. So we're starting a little earlier. We're coming off of County Road 14 Mulberry onto the frontage road, and we're kind of already strung out already. I think Dean has gone to the front, and he's trying to soften people up. We got new rider Tyler back there, just hanging on, learning how to draft, and we got Justin back there also. So I'm in line, trying to just get some shelter and trying to recover a little bit before the contest, the sprint zone up Vine. And I can see my heart rate's already like in the 150s, and some of the wattages I'm pushing here is like over 300, and I'm not all that pleased. That being said, I pretty much sat in the entire way so far, so I needed a little bit of warm up, so that's probably a good thing. I'm still recovering a little bit from the Four Seasons race, but I'm feeling okay. So, snugging up in here, things are good, still strung out a little bit. It's a big group today, I believe there's 14. We got lots of big men up front. So it's going to be quite the contest. We got Matthew Michaels, Ben Miller, Carey, Tony Riccio, Greg, Joel, Curtis. So it could be quite the contest, and I definitely want some good position. So it looks like a little bit of a gap opening up here by Joel. Not certain. Maybe he wanted to get some view of the train tracks. I don't know, but I'm thinking to myself, if people decide to go, I don't want to be back here. So I need to move up a little bit and get some good position there. Because there's nothing worse than being gapped off by people who don't move out of the way, or you have to go around them, and that's a lot of energy wasted. So that's just a little bit of savvy on my part to get some good positioning there. So Isla's looking good, snugged in there nicely. I see Ian tucked in there, nice double pace line. My heart rate's like 160, 161. We're pushing 300 watts at times. I'm like, okay, this is my comfortable heart rate, and we haven't even gotten to the sprint zone yet. So what is going on up here? And clearly, it must have been either Dean or Steve Highland, who I probably didn't mention as being one of the big men and should have, are up there like just throwing it down. So who is up there? Oh, that looked like it was Matthew up there. So the group's a pretty healthy group, and we're gonna hopefully have a good time. I know we will. I'm still trying to hold my position. There's Ian struggling a little bit on the hill, and we're gonna want to make a full stop up here, and for a couple of reasons. One is that we had gotten pulled over on the Prospect Road before with our group, and I know the TTH has been stopped here for not making a complete stop on the stop sign. But Dean goes ahead anyhow, and he does that. I'm calling him out. Love you, Dean, but I'm calling you out. I think Diana would have called you out on that too, maybe. So anyhow, we're getting going. Matthew's laughing a little bit. I called him Michael because, having a famous name, which is the reverse of Michael Matthews, I get confused, especially when my heart rate's so high. So Dean's up the road, and people just probably want to chase a little bit. The big men are back here, so I'm not too concerned. We got Ben and we got Matthew, but I'm not stupid. And so if Matthew is going toward the front with Tony Riccio up there and Dean, it's dangerous. So I need to make certain I cover this one. So sitting in, taking the free ride from my teammate. There goes Tony. Curtis looks back like he saw Matthew. Like, what are you thinking, Curtis? You need to be jumping on this right away. But he waits. Joel kind of realizes this a little bit late, but this is a seriously dangerous move because I believe Carey is up here and Matthew and there's nothing but trouble, and Dean and Greg, but they're sleeping. And Tony is almost here. He realized this like 1 second too late. Would have been three old school racing guys together up there with one First City. We would have owned him, showed him what teamwork was all about. So First City needs to send some more teammates out there. In any case, I'm sitting in and I'm hurting, and the gap is growing. And I believe I mentioned something to the guys about the gap growing just a little bit, and that we got something. When I looked back during the actual event, and I knew somebody was coming. I wasn't certain who it was. If it was Tony, I may have waited up a little bit, but Let's make them earn it. They'll learn their lesson. So I'm kind of surprised here that Tony can't make a big heroic push. He's probably pushing like 380, 400 watts or whatever, and he's been doing that for like ever. Like one heroic push at like 900 or 1,000 watts would have brought him up to us, I think. But what do we have here? We got Ben Miller, a ramming and a thumping, throwing down some serious watts with Curtis in tow, leaves everybody behind to make the selection. And at this point, I am a bit worried. I'm thinking to myself, here I am, like being in a group of real superheroes. I'm like Batman. I got my utility belt, and I got Superman, Green Lantern, The Flash, and like Aquaman. And here I am with just a damn utility belt. So I'm going to just try to hang on. So my heart rate's like over 180. This is where like mental toughness comes in, and I was dying, but I was like, I just kept telling myself, ignore the pain, just try to keep in the selection. You have the camera. It looks bad if you get dropped too early. So I pull up 180 beats, starting to settle in, hoping to get my heart rate into the upper 160s or mid 160s, and I figure if I can sit in, that might happen. But the speed is high, and even sitting in, my wattage, 200 or whatever, we're talking near my FTP and over. This is not going to be an easy recovery. So, Curtis is in tow. He's got some good draft back there, especially with four people in front of him, so that's good. Like the rotation begins here, and I don't really want to be here in the rotation. So I kind of just follow through, and I'm happy that it wasn't a quick rotation. So we got Ben sitting back there. We got Curtis in tow. The group is established a good break, and it's certain that the selection is made and life is good. And there should be a lesson to people. When dangerous men go up the road, let us not be sleeping. Because I believe Kerry on his own has won this, at least a prospect sprint. I believe Matthew has won a prospect sprint on his own. And Curtis has won prospect sprints. I have in the old days. So there were clearly serious men up the road, and they just let it happen. In any case, I'm trying to get some recovery here. And so I slide and skip my turn at the front. I'm going to let Kerry slap in here, and I'm going to get a little bit of shelter because, I'm at my limit pretty much. And if I fall off, it's poor etiquette knowing that you're not going to be able to hold to gap somebody. So nice work here. Nice, subtle echelon. Everybody in this group knows what they're doing. Nobody is acting erratically. Everybody's smooth. It's a well-oiled group. I mean, this is the kind of breakaway that you want to be in where it's really safe and you're comfortable. And it's fun. So sitting in behind Kerry, hoping to recover. My heart rate's coming down, but I'm still throwing out some good power numbers. And at 172, there's definitely pain in my legs. I have been, watching some of the Trainer Road guys, and they talk about how hard the training and the racing is, and even from my past experiences, knowing that you have to kind of ignore the pain. So my legs are hurting, but I'm ignoring the pain. I'm telling myself I'll just keep going because this training is supposed to be hard. So at this point, my heart rate's down to 169, and even though that's my at least AT, I'm going to try to go into the rotation and maybe do a little something at the front, show my presence there. Don't want to wheel suck the entire way up. There's no honor in that because, well, first of all, I'm here for a good workout. So sitting in too much is not a good workout, but believe me, if I'd sat in this entire time, it still would have been a good workout. Serious over-under work here. This is where the training pays off. So looking behind me, I am at front, and it's a slight downhill, and you can tell because we're doing 28 miles an hour with only 150 to 200 watts. So we know that's not me at the front. So don't want you to think I'm sandbagging with my utility belt because I had some either kryptonite or something back there to slow these guys down. No, it's just me working really hard up there. Heart rate 169. Not that I'm sandbagging, but I'm not working super hard because I know who I'm with, and why would I want to blow myself up because I want to be in their selection. So Ben goes hard and I got attacked before last week with a carry at the front. So mental note. But anyhow, I had held back a little bit, and I was able to force myself to keep in contact. But this took 400 to 500 watts to keep contact here. And special thanks to Matthew here. He sat up just a tiny bit to give me some shelter to help me out, to keep me in the selection. I'm guessing either he likes his camera time or he likes his teammates. In either case, I'm good with whatever. So trying to stick in there, knowing that the pain will only last for another mile or so. So I think I might be good. So pulling through, like Ben's attack is over. He looks back and he sees, oh, I'm probably still there. So that's a good thing for me. Get some street cred there. Sitting in, enjoying the good life, sitting behind the big men. Curtis working hard at the front. I'm not throwing down a shit ton of wattage, but I suspect that he is, and hopefully he's not blowing up. But I know with his FTP, it's probably not horrible for him. So Matthew goes to the front, and I know better. I've reached my limit here, so I'm gonna just sit back, and hopefully Curtis will cover this. But he's obviously gassed, so Matthew makes this slight look over his shoulder. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it is his little oh, the cameraman's not there. I need to slow up a little bit. So even at, this looks like it's 28, 29 miles an hour, he slowed up to wait for me a little bit, which is super awesome. You see that little look over his shoulder there? That was not trying to check to see who he's dropped. Cool. Kudos. Thank you. Teammates forever. So anyway, I'm sitting here, position number 2, feeling good, trying to recover. Heart rate 174, and the speed is still high, and I'm hoping to make it to the end. And surprisingly, Curtis has popped, which really surprised me that I made the final 4 here. So Ben at the front throwing it down. I believe this is the final push and sprint. I'm at 350, 360 watts or whatever, trying to stay in, and I hang on again, heart rate 178. So this is totally my limit. If these guys would have known, they could have put down just a tiny 1 watt more, and I would have been OTB. And there it goes. Ben goes hard from the front. Matthew trying to hold on. And so there's some serious wattage being thrown down when Matthew from behind can't make it. Sorry if I gapped carry on this one. I just didn't have it. The crest of the hill is here. I'm shutting it down. And I'll take my 4th place on this one. And a good time was had by all. I really enjoyed that one. It was painful. Next time, I'm hoping that they'll be a little more cognizant. Clearly, Carrie and Matthew were listening to my podcast because they saw how the wheel suckers just ran them down and sat on their wheels, and they're just basically marked men. But that serious attack at the front, that going hard, I'm guessing 500-600 watts for a sustained period, was enough to keep away any of the chasers. And that was a good move. Kudos to everyone. And until next time, hopefully there'll be more people in the rotation. Give me a little more shelter, but that's fun. And they're the winners, the big men that made it happen. Anyway, guys, until next time, peace out.